got a little two-part episode here for you today on Seahawks Today. I'm your host, Will Ortner. First, I got to dive into the love affair that ESPN finally gives our Seattle Seahawks. Finally, the East Coast bias is pushed through. And then I kind of want to take a look at some of the juicy rumors surrounding your Seattle Seahawks, our Seattle Seahawks, and what could be happening on that offensive line. And I do want to make sure that I say this. Thank goodness the Seattle Seahawks have been really freaking good this season. I can't tell you how many people here at Chat Sports have come up to me saying, well, I like this kid, but what's your opinion on Dante Moore over at Oregon? Or what's your opinion on Kenyon Sadiq over at Oregon as they go through and make their mock drafts for their channel? You know what we're not doing at Seahawks Today? We're not making mock drafts because we're thinking about the here, we're thinking about the now, and we're thinking about the Seahawks' best wins on the season. I've been kind of racking my brain through and through, and I know it doesn't look as good right now, but for some reason, that victory when the Seahawks beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, it felt like the offense finally figured it out. It felt like the defense really showed what they can and truly will be. Maybe it's the Arizona Cardinals game, that second one where DeMarcus Lawrence got 2 touchdowns. Whatever game that you think was the best for the Seattle Seahawks, whatever win you think was the best for the Seattle Seahawks, I want you to let me know down in the comments below. Let's have a conversation. I think it can be really fun. All right. So ESPN had multiple articles out this week where they talked about the upside of the Seattle Seahawks and where they kind of sat in the rankings when it came to the National Football League. The first article that came out was pretty close after the Minnesota Vikings 26-0 victory for your Hawks, and they could not talk more about how well this defensive unit played. I mean, you can see Big Cat right there just absolutely being a monster. He was a game wrecker, could not be blocked in this one. Does it in the run game as well as in the pass game too. So Brady Henderson had this to say on the Seahawks defense, and he makes a comparison here that I think is fascinating. With 4 Sunday, the Seahawks are on pace for well over 50 sacks. Their 2013-2014 Super Bowl teams recorded 44 and 37. So this Seahawks team is better than that crew at getting to the quarterback, respectively in 16-game seasons. That is fair. And those defenses didn't have a pair of game wreckers in the interior, such as Williams and Murphy. Here's your Seahawks sack leaders right now, and I want you to really notice something. I know it says DN on Leonard Williams. In this defense, he's really a defensive tackle. I don't know why they continue to claim that he's a defensive end. If he was in a 4 front, he'd be a D tackle. Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy, those are your leading sack getters. That means the Seahawks defensive line from inside of the middle are getting a great push on quarterbacks, and your defensive linemen are coming in and making great stops. That's also, not to downplay, though, what Uchenna Nwosu and DeMarcus Lawrence have been doing on the outsides. I mean, shoot, if Brosmer doesn't just chuck the ball up willy-nilly, DeMarcus Lawrence, he'd be tied with Uchenna Nwosu right now in the season. You've got multiple guys who in multiple different positions can get into the backfield and will make life extremely, extremely difficult on opposing quarterbacks. That's different than the Legion of Boom. Legion of Boom, you had 2 guys. It feels like with this defense, you have 4. Now, the secondary might not be as good as Legion of Boom. But I'll tell you right now, that interior, I think it does compare, which is why I ask you this. Is the Seahawks defense as good as the LOB defenses? The Seahawks defense is as good as the LOB defenses, I kind of think. So I would say that this question is true, or this statement is true. You might disagree with me. Maybe you'll say false. Let me know down below in the comments. The second article that I want to talk about here was more of a power rankings, I guess you could say, from ESPN. And every single week they go through and they say, hey, here's the number 1 team, here's the number 32 team, and all the way through it. And here's where they had the Seattle Seahawks. They didn't have them at 1, and I kind of think that is fair, but they had New England Patriots, Los Angeles Rams, Denver Broncos, your Seahawks, and then the Green Bay Packers. So essentially they're saying the second best team in the NFC, that's your Seattle Seahawks. And honestly, I disagree with them. And the only reason that I think the Seahawks are behind the Rams is because of that head-to-head matchup. But if the Seahawks were to play the Rams 10 times, I think you're going to win 6. I really, truly do. Am I biased? Yeah, a little bit. But I've been watching this team this entire year. The defense, ESPN agrees with me, they're the best in the National Football League. Offensively, hey, Sam Darnold had a bad game against the Rams, threw a lot of interceptions. Hey, Brian Flores did a great job of dialing up pressure against the Seahawks. It wasn't the best game from Sam. Guess what? Other people on the offense picked him up. And when you don't look at those two games, that's when Sam's picking up the rest of the offense. This team is so freaking good. And finally, the national media, and maybe the most important member of the national media, is really tuning into what the Seahawks are and what the Seahawks can be. And that's the best team in the NFC. And right now, if you win out, you will be the number one team in the NFC conference. I want to dive into some more of those rumors in just a moment, though. I have to ask you, we're in a sub battle against the Atlanta Falcons. Right now, Moose, the Falcons host, he's bragging, walking around, puffing out his chest a little bit, making sure everyone knows at Chat Sports that the Falcons have more subscribers than Seahawks today this week. Help me out. Come on in. Subscribe to the channel. Let's keep growing this channel, and especially so I can go over to Moose and say, suck it. We beat you. Help me out. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to dive into some juicy Seahawks rumors. Yes, it involves the offensive line, and yes, it does involve that one player that you're thinking about. But before we do that, I do need to let you know about my good friends over at PrizePicks. It's the holiday season, the best time of year for sports. Bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes, it is all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right. PrizePicks. New feature alert. PrizePicks now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. On PrizePicks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose FlexPlay, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter your play, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the test. Speaking of takes, I have a 3-pick power play for this weekend's action. JSN, more on his receiving yards. Kenneth Walker, more on his rush plus receiving TDs. Kirk Cousins, this defense, less on his pass yards. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Seahawks fans have been in my DMs. They've been in my comment section. They have been all over message boards. I have been all over message boards. I have been all over Twitter, Instagram, asking, begging, pleading for a change at that right guard position. It feels like Anthony Bradford has made too many mistakes and that the Seahawks could clearly upgrade there. Is that player on the Seahawks roster already that could help you upgrade? Here's what Mike Macdonald had to say on Anthony Bradford's performance last week against the Vikings, which I think most Seahawks fans would say was a pretty darn rough performance. AB is doing some good things. He really is. There's some really good plays on there, and there's some not so good plays. Some of those plays that show up are quick losses. Super quick, Mike. Maybe, and we can finish those plays better. Let's keep doubling down on the fundamentals. And then this is where the juicy rumor kind of starts. Because not this week, but next week, Jalen Sundell can return off the injured reserve and practice. Now, most of you are saying, well, that doesn't affect right guard. Jalen Sundell plays center. But Macdonald was asked about Olu Oluwatimi and what Sundell will play when he comes back. He says, right now we still have to work through the lineup and what the lineup will look like when he comes back. Well, not to do windy here, but if he really likes how Olu Oluwatimi's playing, and Anthony Bradford continues to lose on the outside, and don't forget, if there was an injury to either guard position, Sundell was going to be the backup guard and move over. I think that there's a really good shot that we do see a change at the right guard. And my take is that you're going to see Sundell move to the right guard position and beat out Bradford for that starting right guard spot. Sundell is quick. He works well in Clint Kubiak's system. and you're not going to ask him in pass pro to take on gigantic blockers that he wouldn't have already taken on at center. Remember, Sundell did a good job in the middle of this offense blocking guys much bigger than him in pass pro. And while at center, he did at times have issues going one-on-one, mano-a-mano on backside cutoffs on these long outside zones. Well, if he's at right guard, you're either asking him to cut on the backside or you're asking him to reach the defensive tackle in front of him. That's what he's best at anyways. You're using his athleticism. That's why you started him in the first place. I think that we could see a move at that right guard spot. Now, there's no official word yet or official news, but I think if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly, you are going to see Sundell replace Bradford at that right guard spot. I've given you my opinion. I think we're going to see a change there at right guard, and I think a lot of Seahawks fans are going to be happy that that change is finally being made. Do you agree with me? Yes, Sundell will replace Bradford at right guard, or no? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the show today. We really appreciate it here at Seahawks Today. If you are not subscribed, you love the Seahawks, you love their content, you love my hair. It's beautiful. It's the best here at Chat Sports. Subscribe to the channel. You'll get to see my hair every single day because I'm releasing daily Seahawks content that you don't want to miss out on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.